Does it feel like a significant one, Michael, to hit the road with the season as it is and produce that?
Yeah, it did feel more just the way we played, how we played. I mean, that's why it was probably more significant. Sort of forget where it is in the season, and the opposition you're playing against, they're tough. They're tough to beat here. So to be able to get our game together like that, set up in the first quarter, being able to get territory on the ground, the pressure we were able to create in the first quarter. So I guess sort of laid down the foundations for us for the rest of the game. So we built our rest of the game off the back of that.
What was it the pressure that was the most pleasing thing? What else?
Oh, I think so. We've spoken a lot about around our contest pressure and what our defence needs to look like, and couldn't have asked for more really in that first quarter. The ball lived in our half. I think it was sort of 70-odd% in our front half in the first quarter. So when you're in a away venue, you want to start well, take the crowd out of it, and provide that energy. And so as you start to get a little bit of, starts to become contagious. The efforts become contagious and sort of draw that energy out of one another. And that's what we needed today. Even though we still had some great support here, as we do everywhere we go, it's still nice to be able to drive that energy within.
So you had 10 tackles, 4 to 50 in the first quarter. Did you feel like that really set the tone, those guys specifically as well, to lock the ball in?
Yeah, absolutely.
Make everyone else want to do the same thing?
Yeah, absolutely. And so we knew clearly that Fremantle were going to respond in that area. In the second quarter, we sort of dropped off a little bit with our pressure around the ball through the second, but we ramped it up again in the second half. So, I just felt like that's that and, some really selfless, play from guys doing their jobs and getting their jobs done. I could spend a bit of time here talking about individuals, but just really felt like everyone got their jobs done, and when they needed to be lent on, they got the job done for another teammate. So it was that was particularly pleasing.
You played short. Sorry, go. You played short in the ruck a bit this season and last, but different tasks today against Darcy. You needed to be on song with the midfield and the way that they played it. You must be happy with the way that panned out.
Yeah, again, it highlights the effort that Youngie and Sauce have done to be able to come in and, as best as they can, try and neutralise the opposition's rucks and then get to work on the floor. And look, I don't have the stats in front of me, but hit-outs were well and truly behind. But our ability to be able to get the ball back and still win clearance and score from those plays was pretty important. So, and that's the energy that we're able to bring around the contest. And the boys are really buying into that, and it's making a significant difference to us.
Do you think you're a bigger body in midfield than what they are? They're a lot younger as well. Do you feel that is going to give you an advantage in those contests?
Well, it only does if you bring effort. It only does if you bring intent. We understand that any team's going to bring great pressure. But can we live in that space for longer? And that's not been something that we've had consistently throughout our year, which has made our year really challenging at times. But we've gone after it pretty hard, and we feel like it's in good shape right now. So if we're ever in doubt about what we needed to look like, we don't have that anymore. We're pretty clear on what we need to be able to get done in our game to make us play the best.
That's been 3 weeks in a row, or 4 when you include the bye. What's triggered that we didn't see the 6 weeks before that?
A lot of lessons, a lot of conversations, a lot of reinforcement, and I guess sort of buy into some of the basics of the game. So we've no doubt simplified it significantly, and the boys have enjoyed that and certainly bought into it. And so as a result, we're obviously playing some better footy.
Is that coach led, or is there players?
I believe the players need to take a really some credit for the way that the leaders have gone after that period of time. No one stepped away from their responsibilities. We absolutely owned where we're at. We had to sort of accept where we're at a bit first before we could make any change. And the leaders have really driven that. Clearly as coaches, our responsibility is obviously to try and provide that clear picture and actually what it looks like and keep reinforcing it. But to the credit of our leaders and to our players, they've really gone after it.
Did that happen over the bye? Like something significant over that?
No, well, sometimes you can grow when you're getting challenged and nobody sees it, but you can still grow. And then all of a sudden when you start seeing the light, you actually see what it looks like. And so we had to do a lot of things over that period of time, and it wasn't necessarily going that well for us, but we had to persist through it anyway. And I think just through that persistence and that reinforcement, just trying to keep that clear picture around what it looks like and what it feels like. And we've been able to turn a lot of that around. But we also know that we've got a lot of work ahead of us. We're sort of not taking anything for granted right now. We're sort of just, I guess, living in the present and just sort of taking it all in and enjoying these experiences and coming away together like we did today in a pretty challenging environment, and we walk away with the 4 points.
Harry seems to today played with confidence, like that wasn't there probably a month ago, and kicking beautiful long straight drop punts from 50. Does that change his on his own bat, or has he been asked to change that?
Oh, it's all up to the individual. I mean, in the end of the day, the decisions the individuals have to work through, and sometimes you get faced against some really challenging situations. And Harry had some of that, but he wasn't alone. We're all navigating our way through that, and again, I'd encourage the players to understand when you don't have confidence compared to what you do now and what it feels like. And our players, again, I'd like to highlight individuals, but our players are in collectively good form right now. And they've decided to invest in the team. And then as a byproduct of that, funny enough, their own personal form is well and truly turned around.
And a couple of injuries today. We'll start with Kennedy. How does it look for him?
Knee, we'll get that scanned. Not sure the significance of it yet. So we'll get that scanned, I guess, as early as we possibly can. There's a couple of corkies. That's probably the only other significant things that we had out of it. So the other boys should be okay.
Yeah, and McGovern, I'm assuming that was...
Yeah, the corky,
okay.
yeah, the big weedering knee went, I think, straight into the side. So that probably didn't feel that nice.
And the challenge next week of Port, how do you view that, and do you see that as a really good litmus test for where you guys sit at the moment?
No, not really. I don't. I think it's another opportunity for us to be able to play against some quality opposition. So I think what we do at the moment is we take the next 24 hours just to absorb what we've done here and make sure that we really enjoy these wins that we have, and we get a small amount of time back at the hotel together that we'll take the time to acknowledge, and then we cast our eyes forward. We'll do that more Tuesday, not necessarily today. We know what's coming. They're obviously clearly a very good side. Spent a bit of time there, so know the coach well, know the players well, but that doesn't necessarily, that's going to help too much. We've got to bring our best, and we won't get the job done if we don't bring our best.
And do you expect De Koning and Piternay to return next week?
I'm not sure. I sort of have to get back there next week and sort of find out. Pito probably not. We're more hopeful with Tom. Yeah.
Michael, sorry.
No, you go.
How pleasing is it now to see just the one win outside of the eight? You were bottom four not that long ago, and now you're really banging on that door. How pleasing is it?
No, I've got to be honest, I haven't looked. So I think it's, for us, we're just really pleased that we've been able to get some of our game together, acknowledge that we've got players in better form, and our players have gone after some really important things for us. So, I don't think we should get too lost on outcome where we sit now. We haven't earned that right. So, over the course of the season, we haven't earned that right. So we'll just keep our eyes right in front of us, and we'll maintain our eyes in approach, and we'll look at our next opponent in due course, and we'll get after it as best we possibly can. And if that translates into another 4 points, so be it. If that means we go up the ladder, then so be it. But we'll just make sure that we stay really present and keep earning the right.
Just to highlight a couple of individuals, given they were playing their former team, Akers and Chera. How did you view their games today?
No, really good. Ches was fantastic. I said I was going to talk about individuals, didn't I? But no, he was really good, and so was Blake. He'd set himself a little bit early, Blake, in the week. Obviously, he had a mate there just to give him words of encouragement on how to handle it. But he's got, the advantage with those two guys, they've got plenty of experience behind them. But they both played extremely good games.
Considering the way your midfield's played the last couple of weeks, knowing they're not going to get first hands on the ball because of the way the ruck's going, do you consider going without a ruckman and playing? And let's stay with me.
We still need them.
Gary Hopkins style.
Well, staying with Silvani and Young as a competing ruckman, but having that intensity to win the ball.
I think that's all what will balance up as the week presents itself. But look, I couldn't ask for any more from Youngie and Sauce and what they're able to do the last couple of weeks. And, we've had a next man up, philosophy for a period of time. And, the guys are stepping in, doing great roles. It'd be a tough call not to bring one of those boys back in. But I think what the biggest thing for us is that the lesson is that, it's one thing to have a ruckman, but if you don't do the work on the floor, then it doesn't matter. and obviously that's where we're getting a significant difference. Cheers.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Thanks, Michael.
Thanks, Zach.